everybody, greetings. This is Angie, the Undeniable Vixen, and welcome to Being Black in Craft, where we don't apologize for recognizing our influence on craft beer. So, we have a great guest uh, in the house as well, but we do have our usual church announcements. I have a couple of things that I wanted to share, but one thing that I did see as I was scrolling through Facebook's Mind My Business, Loving Jesus Like I Do, I saw Kendrick and he had the biggest Kool-Aid smile on his face. And what I saw in the background was Whiskey Riot. So I knew why he had the Kool-Aid smile on his face. So, um, Kendrick, if you can, I would love for you to tell people about Whiskey Riot because it may be coming soon in their town. I know that I've been looking at it and was kind of intrigued by it, but now that I know somebody that went, that can tell me some sights and sounds, I'm very intrigued.
Well, about that, that was from over a year. That was about a year ago. But
Mm,
it's mainly, of course, it was like so Odell always finds on like whether Eventbrite or he's following some of the local bars that end up being affiliated with it. But it was just a whiskey festival. They had it at this place called the Post Houston, and it was basically you just go in there and sample everything. So yeah, it was dope. Of course, that was one of the situations to where I think for me, whiskey festivals versus beer festivals, it's kind of like hard because with beer, you can sample like, some smaller ABV stuff and then work your way up. I think whiskey, you just go in and it kind of, it's kind of hard to kind of not get that buzz quick. So I think I was running in traffic and I had like an hour to actually go around and sample everything, and within 30 minutes I was like, all right, you know what? I think I'm okay right now. So but yeah, it was just one of those mini beer, whiskey festivals that Houston has, and dope time. And I think the one that I liked the most, as far as like, there was a whiskey social that this Houston Bourbon Society has, and I'm gonna have to get the name of it, but that one I think was like probably the doper out of the two. I'd have to get the name of what it is, but it's an annual event hosted by the Houston Bourbon Society. And once I get the name of it, I'll send it over to you. But that was probably my favorite of the two, because they had awesome food, and you had more sample. People were giving away more stuff, and so but Whiskey Ride was cool. And once it comes back this year, I'll attend again.
okay, so let me ask you this. So I know it's been a year. Did you see any black owned whiskeys at the festivals by chance?
Uh, Let me see. I think the only, if I'm not mistaken, probably Uncle Nearest is probably the only one right off the top of my head that I can
Hmm.
remember. But not too much from that. I mean, I know it, the bourbon one I just got through talking about it, even though it was bourbon, they had Go Three Vodka, the
Okay,
black
yeah,
owned from Houston. They was
right.
they was out there representing as well. So, and there's this her name is escaping me. She's she does old fashioned. I think she had an old fashioned recipe book that she written. I forgot her name, but she's very popular around the Houston area. But I follow on social media, but her name's escaping me. But yeah, so I think Uncle Nearest was the one that I remember from the whiskey ride, and then like I say, for the Houston bourbon one, the Go Three vodka was like black representing there.
Okay, well, I appreciate the update. Yeah, I was looking at that Whiskey Ride, I guess, is kind of a national kind of just kind of they go everywhere, but of course, we have our own. We have the Click Fest, which is no, not Click. I want to say Click, but Clink Fest. But it's a wine festival. But in lieu of that, there's also one that is a couple that is for whiskey. People in the industry that kind of go. There's a big industry festival, and then they have one that's just like for black. Uh, well, BIWOC or BIPOC industry leaders, that they kind of have like a subsection. Hey, come and meet us at this one that's like really big and up and coming, as well as festivals that are coming up, that are up and coming. In, I'm gonna say Virginia, LA, they went. There's a couple, and I've been kind of researching them, seeing about trying to get out there because it's a little bit of a haul. But maybe, through media, I might be able to check it out. Maybe not this year, but next year. But
Hmm.
okay, thank you for that update. Whiskey Ride, all right.
Yeah, and I just a quick Google search. I saw that the one for 2024 in Houston is going to be April 20th.
Okay, I knew it was down to somewhere around that time. Okay, cool. Um, what other church announcements do I have? So I guess some personal church announcements for me. One, I just recently finished. I just came back from Austin to doing a panel discussion, which was supposed to be Black leaders or Black leaders and brewers in the industry through St. Andrews, called Hilltops, and just a panel discussion with a gentleman. Um, had some, no, I'm not going to say generic questions, but some general questions. And we did have some audience that gave some great information and feedback. Still, there are people that do not know that there are such a thing as Black brewers, or that it is a phenomenon when they say, I am the first Black brewer in XYZ city. And letting them know it's 1%. Some people say less than 1%. Sometimes it's kind of weird, but uh, my caveat to that, which I will continue to say, is I feel like we had a green book. Maybe we need a brew book, which will show in every state there is some type of Black representation in craft beer or craft something. And I think that we can connect the dots and find those different places and go and support them. Or at least if I'm going out of town, I can be able to tell you, hey, stop at this place. And that's basically what I did. Ashley was out of town in near Houston. I said, well, make sure you go to Fort Culture. If you're going to be in Houston, go there. And that's what she did. Um, I did that also. Officially, I had really let anyone know I am now a board member of Pink Boots Society. I am the communications director now. So the board is looking like what we are continuously saying is that we are all creeds and colors, all walks of life, all sexual preferences, what have you. We are running the gambit, and it's a lot of work, and I'm ready to do it. Then I also won a grant for Women of Evolution, $400 stipend, which that's what I'm doing. One of the things, I went and got a new laptop because my laptop was acting crazy, and gonna get some more equipment for doing this media thing that we're doing here. So I got uh, some additional tutelage that I'll be getting as well, along with the stipend. So I think that is all of my church announcements that I have so far. So on to our wonderful guests. So I have been, watching and looking at all these different breweries that are coming up, because as soon as I blink, there's something new that I'm missing. But I did not know how how incredibly close to home of friends that I know that are in these pictures. I was like, wait a minute, I did not know that they were so close together. So welcome, Austin, with Strange Fruit Brews. And it's Austin and Justin can't be with us today, but welcome to being Black and Craft.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talk to
So
you.
yeah, of course, I always try to get consent. I want to ask you a couple of questions, nothing too crazy, and just let's just have a conversation. And if
Let's
you
do it.
have anything that you want to ask me or Kendrick, sometimes we'll get some questions in the chat. We're open to answering those as well.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely. I'm open to any and all questions.
So As the old movie says, how did you fall in love with hip hop? How did you fall in love with beer?
That is I'll give you a short answer to a long, real answer. But I would say, in college, if you are fortunate enough to go, you drink beer, cheap beer. But for the longest time, I, was always trying to like look for different different things, try different things and take to different parties and see who liked what. And it wasn't until I graduated in 2011 that I really started to branch out and go to, when I moved to Philly, I would go to different bottle shops. I would go to different bars and breweries in the area to kind of discover what I liked, which ended up being pale ales, IPAs, and things of the like. But for I would say in 2011 is when I really fell in love with the idea of craft beer. And my parents live in Dallas, and there's this brewery out there called Manhattan Brewing, and they like I would go there whenever I would go home. Yeah, I love Manhattan Brewing. It's incredible. And I would always go there and get a flight and then get a couple beers and like figure out what I like, and get a 4 pack or a 6 pack and drink it, while I'm at home. My parents send it back here to California where I live to make sure that I, had some of the good stuff. And I would say, the love affair, has continued. And, I'm always out looking for new things. And, although I do like IPAs, I'm still in search of like, what's my favorite, which changes month to month. I feel like, if not week to week. So yeah, that's how it all began.
So, do you feel like you are more dank IPA or more tropical fruity IPA?
I I think it depends on my mood.
Mm,
I do not discriminate. I am on the West Coast, and I would say, even though the East Coast kind of, has their what formerly they want to call the New England style IPA. I mean, everyone has an IPA nowadays, and
mhm.
so I will drink a tropical fruity IPA with a great mouthfeel, and then I'm more than happy to drink West Coast IPA, that's more danky and hop forward, and so it just, if it's a sunny day, I want to drink something clear, I'll drink something clear. If,
Mm.
I've even gotten into, West Coast pale ales or hazy West Coast IPAs and pale ales. And so like always out, you know, exploring and figuring out like what's next up, and, what's the new wave, I guess you could say.
Okay. So IPAs are, you kind of it's however the wind blows.
However the wind blows.
So what is, because I was on team IPA for a long time, a very very
Mm.
very 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 long time. Now they're home, but what is a style that you're like, out of everything, I'll drink it, but yeah, it's really not me.
That is a good question. Saisons. That was, yeah.
Okay.
Saisons, they're
So what
little.
what about it?
I think that at least the ones that I've tried. I know people try and put me on saisons all the time,
Oh,
and try and say, "Oh,
did,
well,
did,
you'll
did you
like
go
this
Jester
one."
King first?
What do you say?
Did you go Jester King first and then,
I have had Jester King before.
because that might have took you
I
off
didn't even
the.
dip my toe. But people have been saying, "Hey, you'll like this one, you like that one," and for me, there's something about the flavor profile and the taste. Oftentimes, it'll come across. I don't want to say sweet, but there's just that
Okay.
one thing that I just don't like, and I can't put my finger on it, but
Hmm.
it just doesn't. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can understand that. Saisons are pretty good for, I like them, but I think because I'm always wanting to pair it with something,
Hmm.
especially like a farmhouse ale, I need some type of creamy cheese to, because it's already, that has that nice little funk to it that I don't mind, but the funkiness of the cheese that I do appreciate, I think it makes it probably makes it mellow out. So
Hmm.
that's interesting. So okay,
I'll have to
okay.
try that next time. I mean, it's been a few years since my last one, so maybe they've
Wow.
come. Yeah, so I mean, I I don't discriminate against IPAs or pale ales. I mean, I drink
Yeah.
Pilsner, I drink stouts. I mean, I drink pretty much everything except for a saison. It's never in my refrigerator.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And look, like I said, I was team no IPA. It was only because I wanted to do beer judging. I was like, I'm gonna have to learn how to drink this stuff. And
Hmm.
I finally done. I finally found something that I liked, and I was like, okay, let me. And then I was able to kind of move into it. So, yeah, just when you ever get it for free, don't pay for it. Get hey, let me get a sample. So,
Yeah, if somebody wants to give me a sample, I'm all for it.
okay, so between you and Justin, how did y'all meet? How did that come before Strange Fruit?
So it kind of ties back into like my love of craft beer. We've known each other for over 10 years now, and we met through our wives actually. So our wives went to grad school together,
That's
and there was the Mayweather Pacquiao fight. And one of the beers that I was on that I think a lot of people were on was Grapefruit Sculpin. So I got a
mm-hmm.
6 pack, brought it over, and I wanted to, share it with people. Like I'm a big fan of like sharing beers. Like if my neighbors downstairs, or outside sitting on the porch, I'll bring beers down. If I go anywhere, I'm bringing different types of beers. So I did that, and I don't think he actually. I'm almost positive he'd never had before, and so like he tasted it, and he was like, "This is completely different." And so from there, we kind of got each other's numbers, and we would text every now and then. But I would say like probably around after maybe a year and a half, 2 years, then we're like texting each other all the time. And I'm a big fan of travel, so if I go, no matter what state I go to, what country I go to, probably the first thing that I'm doing is searching on Yelp or Google or whatever, like, are there any breweries nearby?
Mm-hmm.
And when I would go somewhere, when he would go somewhere, we would text each other like, okay, this is really good. I really like these hops here, and I really like this style of beer and how they do it down in, let's say, Costa Rica or Thailand or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just kept texting back and forth and sending each other beers from different breweries. Like we would grab like a 4 pack, an extra 4 pack, from wherever we were, and then send them across the country, um, and figure out what one another really liked. And eventually, I would say in 2019, we kind of had a few beers. I would say both of us respectively, and just said, you know what, we talk about this all the time, and like, what does our future look like, and what do we want to build, our legacy on, and we talk about loving beer. We talk about like what we want to do, and we eventually just said, hey, let's start a conversation around like actually creating something. And so in 20, the year following, we decided to get our LLC and like really start building out the business plan, and pitching investors and friends and family on our concept and our idea. And that's how we met, and it's evolved from just being two guys drinking a grapefruit sculpin at a Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight to now being co-founders of a brewery.
That's awesome. So let me ask you, what is your before the brew? What was your day to day like? What is your corporate or what's your mama pay for school? What was
Yeah.
the degree for?
So I've held a number of different positions. I mean, I've been in finance for a couple of years, and then branched out into the technology space. And so I was at a small startup in Philly for 3 years. Didn't love that, and looked for an
Mm,
opportunity out here in California, because I felt like if I'm going to work in technology, then I need to be where technology is like at the forefront. And so moved out here in 2017, and worked at Square for a few years, and then I moved to a new company. I've been there for 4 years, and it's on like the financial technology space. And so I've been doing that. And I know Justin, he's a founder of a platform. I think he founded with a couple friends, or a couple entrepreneurs, I should say, years ago. And I know he has his hands in a couple other investment opportunities. So he, kind of comes from the builder side. And then, he eventually left that world to, go and learn more about the industry from the inside out. So he ended up being a bartender at a brewery in the Northern Virginia area, and was doing bartending, and then moved to do some marketing and operations, and social media for them. And now this is his full time. I mean, what pays my bills is the
Mhm.
job that I still have, but we make it work. It's actually pretty cool. When COVID happened, you think the world is shutting down and people didn't really know how to collaborate digitally and remotely. And
Mhm.
now nobody wants to go back to work. Nobody wants to go see
Oh.
an office. And so, we learned really quickly how to do that. Like I'm huge proponent of, systems and process and data and making sure that we have like the tools available. And so
Mhm.
we've gotten to where we are, like being, on separate coasts, and make it work. It's pretty cool.
Okay. So, who was more interested in getting their hands dirty and doing the brewing process, or who's going to be who is the brewer, or is it, are both of y'all doing the brewing process, or is someone making the recipe? How is that coming together?
Great question. So when we first set out on our journey, we originally wanted to open up a physical location, a tap room. We then realized that it was probably time for a pivot because, putting all of your assets on the line with a bank is not a great idea, especially when you're first starting out. And, as the type of brewery that we are, like we wanted to get the beer in people's hands as quickly as possible. We knew that there would be, long-term leases, there's overhead, there's retrofitting, there's all this other stuff that would kind of delay our process in getting the beer to people. So we quickly pivoted and shifted our focus to contract brewing. So we have we're working with two people, shout out Ryan Stanley and Nate Hott, who were a part of the team, built out a number of our recipes that we have used and will continue to use and continue to iterate on. So that the recipes are taken care of, and then we contract our recipes to different breweries who have the capacity, willing to brew it, and get it out and produce it in the timeline that we need.
And that has been working for you really well as far
Mhm.
as contracting. Is it more than one, like if one is busy, that you have another, like a backup location to do it?
So we've worked with a few.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any real rhyme or reason to which one we choose, if I'm being
Okay.
honest.
Okay.
It depends on like it also depends on like how much capacity we need. So the first beer
Mm,
that we brewed was Subtle Knot, and that was our IPA, and we came out swinging. We did a 30 barrel batch,
okay.
and who brewed that for us? It was DC Brow. And so we knew that they had the capacity. We knew that they could handle the production. Then, we scaled down for our second beer, which was Approachable Guys, the German Pilsner, and we only did 15 barrels of that. And so we worked with Old Bushead. And so, the idea for us in doing and in working with different breweries is knowing one, gathering data on, okay, we brew a 30 barrel, this is how long it takes us to sell out. We brew a 15, this is how long, 10, so on and so forth. And to figure out, like, okay, if we need additional capacity, or if we need, if one beer is selling better than another, like, where can we take our recipe so that they can brew it for us in the time that we need, so that we're not running out of product for the partners that we work with, restaurants, bars,
Okay.
Total Wine, etc.
I think that's really smart to have more than one place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've heard anyone mention that because of the not so great stories of where either I don't have the ability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I don't have the ability to get your brew in my brew. Um, being genuinely, being genuine by saying that, or being a, the only way I can say is being a hater and seeing that, oh, well, they're
Mm-hmm.
doing a whole lot better than I am. So maybe I don't need, maybe something happens today.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's great to have more than one location. And I hope that people really glob onto that are contract brewing, because it seems like the brick and mortar is a dream for some people, but it's not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still come out with some amazing beers and still be in Total Wine, still be at the one I could just spring out of my head is Liquid Intrusion, Lipco.
Mm-hmm.
They're at the freaking airport,
Mm-hmm.
contract brewing. So yeah, so that's a great thing. So I
I mean,
want
it's definitely fun. And I will say, we have been really fortunate to work with brewery partners who, you know, want us to be a part of their ecosystem. So,
Mhm.
and have had no issues with any of that. So, like, some people may run up against obstacles with exactly what you're saying, where maybe they're doing better than us, or, you know, maybe not today, or they don't schedule you, or they make mistakes. Whereas, where we are today, like, people have been more than happy and super helpful.
Yeah, it's I'm really glad to hear that. And that does, again, with what you were saying previously as far as those collaborations
Mm,
and building that community.
mm,
Because if you keep that, that synergy, because we're a small community, but we all we're all supposed to be wanting each other to win, because
mm,
everybody wants beer. And if I can't get
yes.
to your beer, you can get to my beer over here. And you know that it's still good. You know that this is coming from a good place. You know my face, my people, the people that are coming around, and you can see that through, well, I saw it through the stories and things that I was seeing through your Instagram feed. And that's what I kind of all these different people come together and just enjoying beer. But tell me, I'm not going to assume, but I want you to tell me why you came up with the name Strange Fruit.
We get this question all the time. I was
I know
waiting for it. I thought that might be
I'm
the
not going
first.
to assume.
I
So
I thought that was going to be the first question.
ah,
But yeah, I mean, the long and short of it is, we we knew that there would be some questions as to why we did that, especially being two Black men, and that being something that is, in Black culture, like, it kind of make causes some feelings. But what we realized, and what we know, is that it was written by, it was originally a poem. It was written by a Jewish man who was not pleased with the way that Black Americans were being treated. And then Nina Simone, she made that famous. And I think for us, in thinking through a name, um, it was interesting because, I think for some people, they believe that that's the start of the civil rights movement and like the very beginnings, right? When she's singing the song and, people don't like it. And I think you know, for the two of us, we knew it would raise eyebrows, but, we wanted something, powerful and thought provoking. And at the end of the day, what we want to do is create a conversation. Um, you know, Black people are not the largest consumer of beer. And so part of what this does is open up the conversation with anyone who may not be a minority or may not be well educated on that fact and not even really know what strange fruit is. And so someone could ask us, why'd you come up with the name? It gives us an opportunity to educate them and hopefully make them think and hopefully, spark interest in like what we're doing and like even with the names of some of our beers, right? That we have that will come out at some point, but someone could ask you, why'd you name it Subtle Nod? Well, if you see a Black person on the side that you don't know from Adam,
Mhm.
right? You're going to give them a nod of like, I see you, I respect you, or whatever. And so when people ask us that question, that like we can at least say that, right? And some of the other beers that we'll come out with, we want to point to like our culture, and we want to do this for our culture, so that maybe a Black person will walk in, they'll see it, they're like, oh, I know what that means, and they know that this beer is for them. I think that is at the core of what we want to do is like, hey, we want to be welcoming to all people that may be marginalized, all people from different walks of life, but gives us a chance to educate others who may not be as familiar.
Yeah, Billie Holiday, she was an amazing singer, and that was pretty much one of the one of the main reasons why she was put to a federal trial,
Mhm.
um, because she kept on wanting to sing Strange Fruit and they did not want her to. And she was just very much on on her soapbox, as they would want to say it, to to give that rendition and that imagery from that very stirring song from the poem.
Mhm.
So yeah, I wasn't really sure. So but I wanted to get it from you because I was like, well, maybe Strange Fruit, yeah, from the song Billie Holiday, and then maybe they're doing some very interesting thing with some different Strange Fruit. Because another thing that I believe that we give that is new to the beer community is those sweet potato ales,
Mhm.
or I think rice is also something that is colloquial to something that is us as well. That we were, very big rice growers as well. Um, so I wasn't really sure how that was going to match up, how strange it was going to be. But yeah, I'm glad to know that is you're leaving that door of opportunity to educate, and that people are being receptive to that because yes, I definitely knew that was, some type of Black-owned business
Mhm.
at the very least, and so, "Okay,
Mhm.
let me look into that just a little bit more."
Yeah, I mean, it's you said it exactly right. Like education is one of our core pillars, and one of the main reasons we got into this is we want to educate people on Black culture where there's, I think you said at the top of the show, people are always asking, how many of us are actually in brewing and how many of us are owners, consumers, producers, things like
Mhm,
that. And I mean, the figure that, sticks out in my mind is less than 1%. And that's out of, close to 10,000 breweries in the US. And
mhm.
let alone how many of those are Black owned and operated, and let alone how many actually have a brick and mortar location. And so if you're, outside of the culture and, you don't have a brew book or, you know, a green book that you were talking about for
Okay.
breweries, you're not going to know. And so
Mhm,
we wanted to, make a splash and be proud of what we come from, and proud of everything that we put forth, and be proud of the fact that we're willing to educate people on aspects of our culture that they probably wouldn't know unless you told them, right?
Mhm.
And so with the name, with the beers that we'll be launching here in the next year and into the future, and all these different things that we want to do is to educate the masses. um, Additionally, we want to educate our folks too, right? Like, not with the historical aspect, more so beer in general, because of the way that alcohol is marketed to you know our group and our demographic. You have
Yeah.
a certain demographic is tequila and Bud Light and vodka, but then for us it's Heineken and Hennessy. You know what I mean? And so,
Mhm.
like, you have people that, and I've seen it in practice in real life, where come in, like, what's the highest ABV, just trying to catch a quick buzz. Whereas, like, maybe they don't know that, like, yeah, you like Heineken, but you also might like this type of beer. And I think that, like, when we eventually open a tap room, or even if it's just through can sales, like, being able to say, look, you like Heineken, but you also might like this, and then, like,
Right.
kind of changing their perception around, like, what they may or may not like, because it comes some of this comes down to access, and, like, knowing what is
Yes.
out there.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I come across that very often, where I'll share a beer with, like, my barber, for example. This man
Mhm.
drinks Hennessy and tequila and likes Heineken, but I brought him some of my beers, or our beers, an IPA and a Pilsner, and he was like, "Yo, what was that?" And so, like, that's the like, that's the reaction we want. Like, "Yo, I like that.
Right.
What's up with that?" And, like, and kind of talk to him about it. And maybe
Mhm.
he'll share with his friends, and get more into it and more invested. So
I think it's real important, and that's something that I'm glad that y'all are doing. And I think a lot more people that are that have been in the beer game for a while were able to kind of just get a couple of beers, have maybe a bottle share, because we have bottle shares here all the time. And
mhm.
what I usually do is I invite someone that hasn't drunk, they don't know anything about beer whatsoever. But I want you to come. All I want you to do is come. I don't want you to bring anything. I don't want you to do anything. I want you to enjoy and
Mhm.
just taste. You don't have to commit to anything. That's the whole beauty of it. You don't have to commit to a full
Yes,
glass of anything. Just come and
exactly.
try it, and then we're gonna find something that you like,
Right.
something that you might be able to kind of glean to. And then when you go to said bar, wherever, you'll be able to look on that list and say, oh, well, Angie told me that I can ask for a sample. Some people don't even know that.
Right.
Or and Angie told me, okay, this it looks just like these are the same attributes of what I had. This it should kind of be like this, so let me try it.
Mhm.
And then I come back to my mother actually having something that she actually liked. And it took me a while. Oh, it took me a
Yes,
while,
I can
but she
imagine.
found something.
Yes, that's good.
But
And
yeah,
that's what it's about.
that's
It's just
great.
sharing, sharing and helping, you know.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I will drink, Heineken and Hennessy from time to time.
Hey, I I closed my windows and I had a Bud Light lime one time. Shh.
Hey, man, I've done that too. So
It
you
was
and me
good to
both.
me. Hey, and in fact, what are you drinking right now?
I am drinking a beer from Humble Sea, um, Socks and Sandals.
Oh my goodness.
So this
Hilarious.
is a brewery out of California. They call them foggy IPAs instead of hazy. Um, Even though they're hazy, but I mean they're out of Santa Cruz, which isn't too far from here, and they have a couple different locations in the area. But yeah, I really like this beer. It's like easy drinking, 6.6%. But it doesn't feel like super heavy. So figured I'd go with that.
Well, I was still drinking my athletic.
Ah,
This is
yes.
actually this is the upside down golden. I was this was the IPA. I had a actual it was a Mexican lager or something, but I was just trying to jump and get something because I'd been kind of under the weather. I wanted to drink my Moors, but I was like, no, I want to savor that. I want to actually have my taste buds are there, but it's just like eh.
Yeah,
So
I hear you.
I wanted to save it. But tell me, educate me on just this weekend or earlier this weekend when you just had a release.
Hmm.
Tell me about the exciting release.
So I wish I was there. I Justin was there,
Ah,
but this was you know a partnership with DC Beer and Dynasty Brewing, and DC Beer wanted to get, like, they used to brew collaboration beers with other breweries. They hadn't done it in a while, and we had been on their podcast, and Justin has some connects over there, and we're talking about, like, what can we do from a collaboration standpoint, and a hazy pale ale was born from that, People's Pale. And we were extremely excited because not only do we get to do something with DC Beer and Dynasty, but we get to add another beer to our repertoire, right? So, I mean, we have a, a pale, an IPA, and a German Pilsner. So, like, just showing the depth of what we're able to do, as a brewery and with DC Beer. And so the turnout was pretty positive, and we had a couple raffles, and people were buying cases and 4 packs, and it looked like a really good time. And a lot of people came out to support. People that I had met, that Justin knows, but that I had met at our launch party back in June 23. And just seeing, like, the love and, like, people really coming out and being excited and supporting us, and it's pretty cool. Um, I was a little jealous, I will say, that I wasn't able to make it.
were you okay? So in the pictures that I was looking at, where I saw Amber on the canning line, where you were there doing the canning and process
I
that.
wasn't. No, no,
No,
no.
okay,
So Justin was there for that, and for the launch party.
okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me this. What no money is not a factor. What would be the one beer that you would like to create? And what crazy adjunct, what is the craziest adjunct would you like to use?
So what beer? So is it? This is two parts. This is what beer
Yeah,
would I like to create.
the style, and what kind of crazy adjunct would you like to put in there?
Eventually, we want to do a sour.
Okay.
Eventually, I don't know if that's the one that we want to create the most. I think we've hit on the ones that we want to create. Is a Pilsner, Pale Ale, and an IPA, just to kind of span the gamut.
Mhm.
Um, we're in discussions about, like, what we want to do next is just a strange fruit release. A Hefeweizen is in there. Um, I could see us, rebrewing Saldonado, the IPA. I could also see us doing, maybe, a stout. But people are really
Mhm.
loving what we have out in the market
Mhm.
today, and our partners continue to buy it, and by the case or by the keg. And I don't really have a great answer for that because I don't want to give too much away, but
Oh,
I
I get
do.
that. I get that. I get that. I get
Yeah,
that.
but if you're asking me personally,
Yeah, just yeah,
um,
because I want you
me
sharing those secrets.
personally, I think a hazy pale. I mean, a hazy pale ale. Like, I it's easy drinking. You can have a few of them and
Mhm.
not feel like you're full, weighed down, or tipsy. And it's a good day drinking beer. So I like that. That is something I would gravitate to.
Okay. So I have one other question like that,
Yeah.
but let me ask you this because you're originally from California?
No, I'm originally from North Carolina.
Okay, but you live in Philly. No, you're in
I
California.
lived in Philly, but I live in California.
Okay, because I was like,
I live in
because
Oakland.
I was like, I don't hear any. What is that, John or whatever that is? Because I'm from Texas,
So
so
you got
all
Philly's
that I
John.
don't know. I don't understand any of that.
Yeah, it's Philly is John. So
Okay, because I
yeah,
was like, I don't hear any of that.
my accent is a hodgepodge. It's southern, northeast, California, Texas.
Okay, okay,
and,
okay. Because I
and
was like,
depending on how many beers I have and who I'm around, one will come out. You know what I mean?
yes, I get that very much so because my mother's from Louisiana, and so when I go visit, when I come back, I'm a whole Cajun. You
Hmm.
hear me, baby?
Right. Takes about a week. It takes
Yeah,
about a
and
week to kind of get back.
it's hard. And who was I talking? I was talking to somebody. I said, I need some groceries, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I need. When we gonna go get some groceries?" Because we had been drinking forever. It seemed like. But he was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Go to the grocery store. I go make groceries. Sorry, I
Go
do.
make groceries versus go to the grocery
Hmm.
store. Yeah.
I go make groceries. Sure do."
Yes. Yes.
So one of the questions I have for you, I'm probably winding down. So, living or dead, who would you like to have a beer with? And what beer would that be and why?
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
And if
Living
you can,
or dead.
if you can't narrow it down to one person, I'll let you have to.
Living or dead. You're gonna have to give me a second because I'm going
No
through time.
problem.
I'm going through time here.
No problem. Sometimes it's like that.
So I'm going to give you three that come to mind immediately.
Hmm.
Okay. So one is Frederick Douglass.
Okay.
One is Malcolm X.
Okay.
And one is Beyonce.
Okay.
So
I don't know how
Frederick
Z
Douglass,
feels about that, but okay.
it's okay. He's already co-signed. He knows I'm no threat. The Rock is in the building. He probably will be in the building. So I get a 2-for-1. You know what I mean?
Look,
Uh,
if you get Beyonce, I'll take care of Jay-Z. I'll make sure he has.
okay.
We'll
Thank
go and
you.
drink some Douce in the bag.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you for having my back there. So I would say with Frederick Douglass, it would be a stout.
Mm,
Why? Because I feel like I don't know. I feel like he would like it.
mm,
I feel like we could sit there and have a stout by the fire while it's like cold outside or whatever.
yeah.
Eating some good. Um, and I would just want to learn more from him. You
Hmm.
um, Malcolm X. It would be a pilsner of some sort. Again, you know,
Mm,
while it's warm outside. Um, and not even sitting at a bar, just kind of walking around the neighborhood,
okay.
just kind of talking and like because he had so many different experiences and like
Yeah.
it's wild. And then Beyonce for obvious reasons, and I think that would be, I think that one might be a sour.
The sour.
I think it might be a
Okay.
sour with Beyonce because
Okay.
that might be the only way I can convince her to drink a beer. We could
Mm,
take.
I don't know
uh,
if you want to pigeonhole a woman into that, but I'm gonna let you have because that
No,
is
I'm
your
not
idea.
pigeonholing a woman. I'm saying get her to drink a beer with me as if I don't know. I
They
don't
don't
want to
have
do
to
anything
be
too
pretty to be
heavy.
cute.
Oh, not. I don't even really like the fruity ones. I like the ones that kind of have a little bite to them.
Yeah, and that was I was going to ask you what the pucker uh uh percentage was going to be like.
The pucker percentage. Not the ones that make me feel like I have a warhead.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
I don't know if it's sour is the right one, but there are beers
Maybe a
that I like.
shandy.
Maybe a shandy, but I like an IPA with like a fruit element that's kind
Yeah.
of in the back end, or a pale ale with a fruit element that's on the back end. So I'll
Mhm.
amend my answer to say something that has a little bit of a fruit element with
Yeah.
really good flavor and really good depth.
Nice. Nice. Okay. He snuck in and got three, but they were good. That was a
I
good
did.
three. That was a good
Yeah.
three. That was good.
Okay.
So, that's all my mind bending. I'm gonna do to you this evening.
Okay. I mean, I'm still here, so if you got any others.
But Justin, um, we have really gone. We're almost through our time, but
Hmm.
I really appreciate you coming and talking to us and sharing about strange fruit, because I think that this is just the very beginning. I know that you've been going strong, but I'm just now getting to know you more, and now that I know that connection, anytime that you need any Manhattan, because I'm here, I live in Plano, so
Hmm.
anytime you want to trade, I'm your girl. Get some Manhattan over, and we
I'll
some
hit you when I'll
strange
hit you
fruit.
when I'm in Dallas.
Yeah, you better, because the other thing we do is Black Beer Delegates. We always have a bottle share or something. We will pull up
Okay.
on you.
Yes, please do. Like I said, I mean, I don't know too many. I don't know of any black breweries in the area, so you'll have to show me.
Yeah, well, we have one that's coming up, Smidox, Kumba Smidox Brewer, and he has a brewery that's going to be opening up, basically walking distance to the Dallas Zoo.
Okay.
We have black brewers in DFW. We have one, Jeremiah, he's at False Idol,
Okay.
and then we also have Dreads, and he works at Petacolas.
Okay. Well, I'll
Yeah.
put those on my list next
Yeah.
time I'm out there.
Yeah, make sure you check them out. And then, of course, I'm all craft. So craft spirits, we have that opened whiskeys, which is a black owned brewery, excuse me, black owned whiskey bar. That's right there by Sandaga, and they're going to open up a cigar bar right there at the end, which is my
Oh,
other
that's
kindred
nice.
spirit. I'm a cigar smoker as well.
Okay.
And then Double D's, which I found out is a nice black owned dive bar that's right near downtown, that has excellent music and excellent vibes. And they have their own tap there as well.
I'm a big fan of a good dive bar.
Yeah, it's really nice. So, yeah, I've got plenty of stuff for you to see. Whenever
Perfect.
you let me, you throw out the bat signal, we will
I'll throw
pull
it
up.
out. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know because it'd be nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one last thing I guess I needed to ask, because you're there in California. But do you go to the Soul Mega, or have y'all been to the Soul Mega Festival that's in DC?
No, but that is something that we are exploring.
Okay.
Um, if not, I mean, I if not this year, then definitely next year.
Mhm.
But we're exploring a couple different things. Broccoli Fest and Soul Mega, and wherever we can, have our beer. Then we're
Yeah.
looking at it.
And Barrel and Flow, of course. But
Yeah,
that's like real close.
I believe we will be there.
Okay. Okay. I'm thinking about it. I've been going there like the last 3 to 4 years. So, not that I'm tired, but I'm wanting to go and see. There are other smaller festivals that I want to hang out at, and so Mega is right around my birthday. Like, this be
Oh, that's a
and then
perfect birthday.
yeah, and then I have friends that are in DC and stuff. So I'm trying to see where I'm going to hang my hat. If I get to go to Barrel and Flow, I probably will try to see if I can do something as far as like speaking, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that'll be exciting.
But I thank you so much. Tell Justin that we missed him, and we thank him for his for his diligence as well as being part of the team and everyone
Yeah.
with Strange Fruit. And if there's nothing else, Kendra, do you have anything before we go?
No, not really. Just if you know, I mean, I know that you can't ship it, but if you got a proxy that can ship, I'd love to support and get a 4 pack, or just do some down here in Texas. So yeah, just let me know, or I can inbox or whatever.
Yeah. Kendrick, do you have our email address?
No, no.
Get it. I can get it
Yeah.
to him.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. If you wouldn't
Yes,
mind doing that, just shoot us an email
absolutely.
with your addresses,
Okay, cool. I appreciate it,
and
man.
we'll figure it out.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, again, this is Angie, the Undeniable Vixen. Thank y'all once again for joining us for Being Black in Craft, where we don't apologize for recognizing our influence on craft beer. Y'all have an amazing night and an amazing week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.